All right, so we're gonna do dividing monomials here. Um, so when dividing monomials, you're going to divide the numbers and subtract the exponents. So if you look at this first one here, we've got 24 divided by 6. That's just the regular numbers. You can go ahead and divide those. And then with your powers there, you go ahead and subtract them. So you've got 7 minus 3 there with the r's there. And there's more at the top there, so you're going to have r to the fourth. And then you got w to the fourth divided by w to the second. You can subtract the powers there. And 4 minus 2 there is 2, so you get w to the second there. Number 2, very similar. You can just reduce down this fraction here, this 3/12. 3 goes into 3 here once. 3 goes into 4 here. 3 goes into 12 there 4 times. So now look at my powers here. I'm going to put a 1 in there for the x. I can subtract my powers here. 2 minus 1 there is 1, so there's more at the top, so I get x to the first, or just x at the top. Same thing with my y's. I've got y to the 10th divided by y to the second, so I can subtract the powers there. 10 minus 2, there's 8. There's more at the top, so you get y to the 8th there at the top. So something else you need to know is anything to the 0 power is always 1. So for instance, if we have 4 to the 0 power, it's 1. If you have x to the 0 power, it's 1. So let's come down here and look at a couple examples here. You got b to the 5th divided by b to the 5th. Remember, you subtract your powers. So I can go 5 minus 5, which ends up giving me b to the 0, which gives me a value of 1. Anything to the 0 power is always 1. Over here, this whole thing in here is to the 0 power. It doesn't matter what's to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power is always 1. I don't even have to clean that up. I can just write my answer there as 1. Negative exponents, you cannot leave any negative exponents in a final answer there. So you want to get rid of the negative exponent, you move it to the inverse side of the fraction. So if it's at the bottom it's negative, you're going to move it to the top and make it positive. If it's at the top and it's negative, you want to move to the bottom and make it positive. All right, so dealing with negative exponents here. So this case here, there's no negative exponents. I'm just going to do what I've done all along. I'm going to subtract my powers. 8 minus 5, there's 3. There's more at the bottom there, so I'm going to make it 8 to the third at the bottom. I need a placeholder at the top, so I'm going to put a 1 there. So just 1 over 8 to the third. Number 2 there, I'm going to work with the plain numbers here first, and I can reduce this fraction here. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 12 there 4 times. So with the x's there, I'm going to subtract my powers. 3 minus 1, there's 2. There's more at the top, so I get x to the second. My y's there, if you got y to negative 5 there, we're going to move it down into the denominator here and make it positive. So I'm going to move it to the opposite place of where it's at. And now, since they're both down there at the bottom, remember going across here, you just add the powers here. So y to the 10th times y to the 5th there ends up being y to the 15th. You add them when it's over multiplication. You subtract them over division. So there it is, x to the second divided by 4 times y to the 15th. All right, so simplifying this one right here, let's move it up here so we can see it. This one here, you want to go ahead and take everything in here to the second power because you have the second on the outside here. So I can do that. I can take 5 to the second, b to the fourth to the second, and I've got n to the second, all divided by 2 to the second, and then n to 6 to the second. So kind of thinking through that, 5 to the second is 25. B to the fourth to the second, you multiply those powers, you get b to the eighth. We've got n to the second. Down here, 2 to the second is 4. And n to the 6th to the second there, you multiply those powers, and you get n to the 12th. All right, now that I've got almost everything cleaned up, I'm going to look at see if I can reduce anything down or simplify anything else. So, oh, that was an a, wasn't it? That was a to the 6th. And this was a to the 12th. So I'm just going to double check to see if I can't simplify anything here. So 25 divided by 4, can't simplify that any farther, just going to leave it there. And I can't combine any B's, N's, or A's there, so I'm completely done with that. And then we've got 5 to the r to the negative 2 to the negative 2, and then we got 1 down here. So I can work through this one here. I'm going to take everything in the power of negative 2, so I got 5 to the negative 2, r to the negative 2 to the negative 2, divided by 2 to the second, taking everything in there to the second power, r to the third to the second. So 5 to the negative 2 there, I'm just going to leave that alone for now. R to the negative 2 to the negative 2, going to power to a power there. We're going to multiply those. We get r to the fourth. Down here, 2 to the second is 4, and r to the third is 6. I can multiply those powers there, so you get r to the 6th. And then notice that 5 to the negative 2 has a negative power. We're going to bring that down here and make it positive. So I'm going to leave r to the second up here. I got 5 to the second times 4 times r to the 6. So now all I can do is work at my r's here, and there's more at the bottom here, so 6 minus 4 here is 2, so 2 is going to go at the bottom down here. Going to need a placeholder up there, and then 5 to the second is 25 times 4 here is 100. So there we've cleaned it up as much as possible. We've got one more down here at the bottom, and then we'll be good. Not a whole lot of room here, but we'll do it anyways. So these are negatives, so I'm going to flip them down, both of them. And then at the bottom there, that whole thing is to the negative 1 power, so I'm going to flip that whole thing up. It's to the first power, but to the first power just gives me itself, so I really just get p to the fifth, q to the second, all over p to the fourth, q to the third. And now I can just simply subtract my powers here. 5 minus 4 here is 1. There's more p's at the top, so use p to the first, which is p. A q to the third and q to the second there, subtract those powers. There's more in the denominator, subtract those powers. 3 minus 2 there is 1, so I get q to the first down at the bottom. So there it is, p divided by q. Good. So now you're working on that 6-2 worksheet.